Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna talk about all the changes I did to the MX-2 and how much it cost and what I would recommend for someone starting out. As you can see, I'm not in the workshop today. I'm out traveling with work again on a little work trip, so I can't currently wrench on it, but it gives me the opportunity to talk to you guys and plan the next build, order some parts, and when I get home, hopefully they're all shipped. So let's start at the beginning. I got the MX-2 from a friend for free, with one condition though, that I had to build something fun, and I knew I was gonna do that anyway, so that was no big deal. And he saw the lawnmower at the race, and he was really happy and impressed with what I did, so it's approved. And originally I wanted to have a support vehicle for the race mower when I'm testing with a friend out in the field, that my friend could drive it there and haul all the tools and most likely pull me back home. So that was my original idea, make it a little bit faster, put a big toolbox on it, make a contraption where we can tow the lawnmower easily. I might still get to that, but for now will focus on the MX-1 after this video. After the first race this season, I broke the steering, the gearbox and a lot of other things on the MX-1. And it was simply not feasible for me to repair it properly in time, since I had effectively 5 weeks since I had to travel and prepare the race and some other stuff. I decided, let's start building the MX-2. So that's what I did. I made some clear goals, which were get it up and running, make it fast, lower the center of gravity, and then make it reliable. When I picked up the lawnmower, my friend told me it didn't run for at least 3 years, but the first thing I noticed was that both front wheels were completely flat, and because they had been standing for 3 years, they had a big flat spot which I couldn't get rid of. To get it on the trailer, we had to put air in it, but before it was on the trailer, both wheels didn't have air pressure anymore. So I knew from the beginning that first of all it's gonna be hard to move and it's gonna need new tires. But when I got it towed, I looked at it, I checked the oil to see if it had oil and how it looked. So I tried starting it. Nothing really happened. I could hear the starter motor spinning, but the actual motor didn't spin, which told me that there was something wrong with the connection to the starter motor and the motor. So I had a look. There's a little plastic gear which was completely worn out, so I need that replaced. So I went to the local lawnmower shop where he put a new tube and tires on my rims, and I got a new gear set for the starter motor for 750 Danish crowns. I got back, I assembled the gear to the starter motor, put it on, tried to start it. It didn't want to run. I used some start spray. I could get it started. However, as soon as I stopped using the start spray, it would go off. I checked the carburetor, opened it, and I could see that it was completely dry and didn't have any fuel in it. I checked the carburetor. Since it had been sitting a long time, the fuel evaporates and leaves some gunk. It looked quite clean, and I tried to clean it as much as I could. Then I took the fuel pump apart to see how it looked, and when I put it back together it started leaking, so in the end I bought a new carburetor for 223 crowns. And I didn't just buy a carburetor, I bought a set with the different filters, so air filter and fuel filter and some new spark plugs. And I could finally go on a test ride where I hit a top speed of 12 kilometers an hour. Next up, I needed to make it fast. The speed upgrades were quite simple. First off, change the pulley ratio, aka a pulley swap. And 2, remove the governor so you can rev higher. For the front pulley I used the pulley from the MX-1, which already had the centrifugal clutch on it. If you want to do it on a budget, you can use the lower pulley of the engine pulleys and then just flop it around. You might need to do some cutting or some welding. If you want to do it on a budget, a pretty easy way. You can also order a pulley. You can find them online, for example. And that's what I did with the rear pulley. For the rear pulley I ordered a 5-inch pulley for 137 crowns. To remove the governor I didn't have to spend any money, but there were some other maintenance items I did. I changed the oil for the motor, since I know that the motor was running well and probably didn't have an oil change in more than 3 years, probably never. So I changed that oil, and I also added oil in the transmission since the grease which is in it is not meant for that speed. So I spent in total on making it fast 627 crowns. So next up I lowered it. Lowering the seat doesn't need to cost anything. It did in my case since I wanted to rebuild the fender and make it look nice. In the MX-1 I actually barely needed extra metal, but for this one I needed quite a bit since I thought it was funny to rotate the fenders 180 degrees. I had to buy a sheet of metal which cost me 169 crowns. It's how it is. It's not the worst. And then I also bought some paint, some primer, black and gold, which added up in total to 684 crowns. Final touches before the race. I bought a throttle pedal. You can also build one yourself. I did that in the past and it worked, but I saw this one online for 120 crowns, which isn't that much considering, and I wanted to see if a cheap throttle pedal works. And yes, it works. It did survive the race, where we just kept beating on it and stepping on it and hitting it hard when there were big bumps. But is it perfect? No, it's not. It's cheap and you don't have the feel or response, but it works. I also bought a steering wheel. We lowered the seat by like 30-40 centimeters, and then you had to drive like this all of a sudden, and doing this for a long time is really not comfortable. And the more comfortable you are in the race, the longer you can drive. This costs 315 crowns. I could have bought one for I think 150 or 160 crowns online, which was probably as good as the one I bought, but I thought that one looked cooler, so I spent a little bit extra. I also got these rubber thingies for the edges, which I like to put since then you don't have any sharp edges. That's also a safety concern. And the last thing, which you definitely don't need, I bought a GPS speedometer. I thought it was funny to get it and have it like permanently mounted more or less. And it actually works. So I spent 582 crowns on final touches. Regarding the race and the repairs afterwards, I really didn't spend that much. I spent 100 crowns on race entry. Actually I didn't because I hosted the race, but every team would typically give 100 crowns to enter the race. Then you probably need some fuel. I typically take 20 liters, so whatever 20 liters of fuel cost, that you need to consider, and some spare parts like extra bolts, belts, oil, so on. Whatever you think will break on your lawnmower, take a spare or two. Maybe some spark plugs. And I had to repair the lawnmower after the race, which cost me a total of 85 crowns. I had to buy an angle iron to reinforce the bodywork. So the grand total for this madness was 3,155 crowns. I definitely spent some money on it. And you also have to keep in mind, I didn't pay for the lawnmower. When you remove all the silly stuff I bought on not essential stuff, if you just want to build a lawnmower for yourself, ride it around in the garden, then you probably don't need to get a new steering wheel, or you might build this throttle pedal yourself. You might only spray in one color and so on. But with the essentials you probably will spend like 1,290 crowns, which is roughly 170 euros or $200. It might be a little off what you would use, and keep in mind you probably would buy a lawnmower. You can buy a running one like the MX-1 I bought for 1,000 crowns. What I had to get is a starter relay, and then it was running, and it gave me a really good baseline. So you probably spend around 1,000 to 1,500 crowns, depending on how much you want to do to get it up and running. You can spend 1,000 crowns on a lawnmower, maybe get 500 crowns in getting it running, and then another 1,000 crowns to make it fast, and then you sit at 2,000 to 3,000 crowns in total with the lawnmower. Yes, it costs some money, but it's still the cheapest form of racing I know, and the most fun. You build your own machine and then you go real life Mario Kart on the field. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video, which is about the MX-1. I'm gonna start that build series, or continue it for that matter. The first video will be about why the gearbox broke and how are we gonna upgrade it. So that's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna order some parts today, so they should arrive in a couple of weeks, but the video will come out next week. So thank you so much for watching. Like always, See you in the next video. Bye!